like, so far, our 30-year fixed rental product, currently we can only do it on, like, conforming 12-month leases. I'm trying to figure out a way for us to start lending on, like, rent by the room type leases, or even month-to-month type leases, or short-term rentals. Like, I don't think we'll do short-term rentals anytime soon, but we'll probably be able to set up and do, like, month rent by the room situations pretty soon.
Well, that'll be huge. Then you gotta call Bob Thong. You know Bob?
I do know Bob.
Yeah.
We've done a couple deals with him. So
Oh, you gotta talk to Dante. That's what Dante does that joins us here sometimes. I don't know if he's on today, but what's going down, everybody? How you doing? I'm distracted from this beautiful weather. I had to get up super early because I have a client that is selling their house in Sammamish and moving to Austin. And I had to talk to them and their Austin realtor this morning. So I got up at like 6, which I don't like to do, but so I'm kind of pooped and it's sunny outside. What are you guys up to? Anybody have anything going on? Kevin, what's going down? How you doing, Kevin? All right. Dion's joining us with his rocket ship. Thomas, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Can you hear me?
I'm good. Yes, I can.
What's going down? How are you been?
Not too bad. Trying to build. Does anybody have any experience on dealing with Snohomish County on building a 2-car garage with a living space above that?
I know someone that might. What kind of?
I have a duplex in Linwood, and what I'm thinking, the county told my neighbor last year that I'm zoned for triplex, but when I corresponded with them a couple of months ago, they told me that I cannot do a third unit. So I'm looking for an engineering firm that can help me do a feasibility on that. If I can do a 2-car garage with a rental above, I can rent the top floor and then basically just using the garage as my own garage.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know anybody up in Snohomish County? I can think of someone that I could ask if you text me. Otherwise, I'll forget. You know my number? Do you know my number?
Yes, I do.
All right. Dana, what's up?
Hey, Julie, great to see you again.
How's it going? Yeah, I saw you connected with Jennifer too, right?
I did. I got reconnected, and it's great. Like you said, she's living the dream, real estate investing and traveling around the U.S.
Yeah. Awesome. Thomas, did you get my number, or do I need to give it to you?
Nope, I got it. I got it in my call ID.
All right, cool. Awesome. How's everybody? And Cole, what's up? Have we met before, Cole? How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. No, I'm new here. This is my first time. I joined the Facebook group a while ago, but first time on the your Zoom call here.
What's your discipline in real estate?
I'm just getting started, really. It's been something I've been looking into like the past year or so. I put my search on hold for a while, but I'm starting a new job in May. And so I live and work in the Seattle area. I'm in software sales. And so, I'm tired of paying rent. So just trying to think of the best way to get, my first purchase and involved in real estate here.
Well, being able to qualify for a loan works. So having a job is helpful in that to get started. That's for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
How about, is it Shar? Shar, is that how I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, that's it. Hi.
Welcome. Is this your first time with us?
No, actually, listened in before, but it's been hit and miss. So I don't blame you for not recognizing.
I like your background there.
Thank you. I live in Gig Harbor.
The pile of papers I have on top of my printer back here.
I live in Gig Harbor. That's a picture of Gig Harbor.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Colby? Welcome. What's up?
Hi, yeah, thank you. I've been similar to kind of Cole, like following the Facebook, been meaning to come into this space and just kind of made a point to do it this week. But yeah, I'm a newer agent, live in the Seattle area, and just trying to grow. On my last year, I was able to do some transactions for my first year, so that was really fortunate for me. and just trying to grow and build on that and network with people with a lot of knowledge, because I know it's all about learning. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us here. I have kind of a special celebrity guest for you guys here. I didn't know you were going to jump on. I sent you an email that I'm like, oh wait, come on, Dana. I said, come on like next week or 2 weeks from now so I can pump it. But you're here. So I want you guys to meet my friend Dana Dunford here. And I'm going to let her introduce Hemlane to you guys. Let me see. Andy, you might have interest in this. We just recorded a podcast with Dana. I don't know. Has it dropped yet or what? I'm not keeping track. Has it come out yet? Do you know, Dana? Joe, have we dropped Dana's podcast yet?
We're like 2 weeks out, I think.
2 weeks out. So you guys are getting the special preview of Dana, who's been hanging out with Jennifer Beatles recently too, and doing some virtual. What are you guys up to over there? Are you about to do something with her on some virtual thing that she's got going on, or what?
Yeah, she uses Hemlane to place tenants as well. So has used Hemlane, sees the value of it for a lot of her real estate investments. But she has a summit that is coming up, and so helping talk about remote investing, not investing in your backyard. I heard a lot of you guys are in Seattle. It's a great market, right? It's been booming, but a lot of times looking out of state of where else can I invest? Whether it's for diversification purposes or for more cash flow and more landlord-friendly states. And so going through that with her of how do you set up your operations for success. So excited to continue that discussion with her and education from that perspective.
Well, we've got some rental property owners and apartment owners on here. So give us the pitch right here about Hemlane. And maybe people can ask you some questions. Alex, this might be good for you guys at Certain Lending. If you guys haven't met Dana, meet Alex. Alex up there in the corner.
Hey, Alex.
Rep from Certain Lending, our favorite hard money lender. They're based out of San Francisco, but Alex, they have a huge operation up here in the Seattle area. And Alex is up here in Seattle along with me. And you guys should know each other. And here comes Justin Cambra, who is your perfect candidate. Hey, Justin, what's up? He's just probably getting on. But Justin owns, what'd you just pick up? Your 30th door or how many out of state?
Let's see, that's in Milwaukee. That was the 20th property
20
in Milwaukee.
But how many total do you have? More than 20?
29 properties, 63 doors.
There you go. And you're gonna love meeting Dana today. It's kind of, I didn't know Dana was coming on exactly today. So this is all exciting for me. I'm a little flustered. So Dana, tell everybody about Hemlane. Those of you who own rentals are going to want to know about this, and you're going to get even more info when she's on Jennifer Beatles Summit here coming up. So
yeah.
This is like event that we have here.
Thanks for having me. So to give you guys some background about what we do here at Hemlane, really focusing on property management in your operations. So if you think about what options you have in the market today for your rental properties, or what you most commonly know about, it's do-it-yourself management, where you manage the property yourself. Justin, you can probably relate. That's virtually impossible to do remotely in Milwaukee. And the other one is to hire a full service property manager. Both options are fantastic options, but most real estate investors find themselves somewhere in the middle. They say, yeah, I do want someone to help manage my property. I'm not physically there, but I want some control. I want some transparency. I want rent to go directly to me. All the types of things that you would want to increase your ROI and really understand your investment. And so Hemlane, what we do is we're nationwide. You can, no matter where your properties are, we can help you. It starts with software that automates as much as possible. Not everything can be automated. Software only solves a part of the problem. And so we partner with leasing agents across the nation. They help find and place the tenants. They'll also do inspections for you, anything that you need locally. So you don't have to be there. You can be in Seattle, you can be in Europe, you can be in Singapore. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. And then we also have 24/7 repair coordination, 5-star reviewed, where essentially every time a tenant has a request, we're doing the troubleshooting for you, initiating your service professionals or from our list, and then going through with thresholds, making sure we have proper approvals, making sure the work is done, and then helping with the payment. So it provides kind of that middle option approach where you're still somewhat involved. You can go on the platform and do what you want, but you don't physically need to be there. You also don't have to do all of the day-to-day. You can take a break. You don't have to have your phone on 24/7, especially at 2 a.m. Although those calls are rare, except when you get to Justin, your size, right? Then you definitely do get some of those emergency calls at odd hours. So yeah, that's essentially what we do. I'd love to actually just open it up to see kind of how are people managing their properties. Do they have property managers they love? Are they self-managing? It'd be great to kind of hear from everyone on this recording of what they're doing today.
Well, I like the fact too that you can connect Hemlane with your own, your own subs or whoever does your repairs, your favorite plumbers, your favorite whatever, and they'll call them on your behalf. You don't have to use their group. If you have like somebody that gives you a good deal, you can have Hemlane them, right? Dana, isn't that right? They can just be connected in the Hemlane process. So they're calling your guy. You're still controlling all your costs that way.
Yep.
If you have people that do good deals for you.
Yeah, that's correct. And we don't upcharge on those repair requests. So whatever their bill is what you'll get. And we'll also push back. We might, if we see that repair bills are increasing from your service professionals, we might write you a note that says, hey, that cost is pretty expensive for market rates, those types of things to kind of help make sure that your service professionals, as well as ones we're using, are really doing both quality and cost. There's always a balance there between the two and really trying to make sure that we get the best of both.
Well, tell them what the cost is because it was pretty inexpensive to plug into Hemlane.
Yeah, so you can start at $30 a month. That's software only. It starts at that with $2 per unit afterwards. But if you do want more full service with 24/7 repair coordination, your first property costs a bit more, but it's just $32 a unit after your first property. So your first property is around 70, then it's $32 per unit afterwards. So it's a great way for you to, on your bottom line, when you look at your cash flow, be able to increase your cash flow because you aren't paying that 8 to 10% of monthly rent.
So who's here? What you want to shout out? What do you think, Dion? Dion, you self-manage all your stuff, right? But you're in and around. Your stuff's all around where you are. I know Justin's out of town. How about who else we got? Andy? Is Andy on here still? Andy was here. I think he popped off. Oh, there he is. You're self-managing, right?
I self-manage all our anything small, so duplexes and single family, and then I have a manager for the apartment building.
Good stuff. What do you guys think? We have a podcast coming out. We're going to drop with Dana here. What kind of challenges, Justin, are you having out of state with any of your stuff? Anything? If you're still with us, Canberra must pop.
Yeah, the main issues, with COVID and is around rent collection right now is the big one, and then unit turns right now is the next biggest.
Yep.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot, right? I don't know what your manager is doing on the rent collection side, and it's obviously state specific and county specific regulations there. But we are doing, even if you're self-managing, we're doing all of the communications online, late fees, notices, all of that kind of stuff as well to help you. And then obviously the local agents can help serve notices if needed, or what we've done really successfully is work with alternative payment plans and holding tenants to it. Because if it's a COVID situation, you obviously want to be flexible and that from that perspective and come up with a plan that works for you and works for them.
Good stuff.
Hey Dana, how does the leasing aspect of it work with the agents in town?
Yeah, so you can select which agent you want to work with. Everyone always asks me, what's the pricing? Well, it's usually their pricing, whatever their pricing is for finding and placing a tenant. More units you have, obviously, more discounts that they'll give, but they'll be responsible for the turnover as well as, because you physically need someone there to help open the door, ensure the quality. Repair coordination for us in tenancy, the tenants usually want to be there to let them in and show exactly what's wrong with the repair. But during the turnover, it would be the leasing agent there. And then you can select which one you want to use. You can also bring your own leasing agent onto the platform. And then they're responsible for everything, but it's transparent in the platform. So you'll get an email update every day saying you've had 5 leads and 2 new applicants. Or if you don't have any by the end of the week, we'll let you know, hey, there's something we need to do on price or offering here. There's no leads or no applicants. So all of that goes through the system. We advertise it out to over 30 rental listing websites. Your leasing agent is obviously going to supplement that. They're going to also put it on the MLS. And then we do the background and credit checks shared with the agent, it's shared with you, provide some recommendations there. And then they would be the ones who draft the lease and do the move-in inspection and hand over the keys. So that's really the full service with the leasing agents. Again, you can bring your own leasing agent onto the platform, or you can use the ones we have. Either way, after the leasing is done, we'll ask you, how did they do? And obviously check in during the process of finding and placing a tenant. We'll ask you, how did they do? We're not going to share the feedback with them, but we're going to share the feedback so that we know how good is this agent. And that just over time helps us make sure we have the best of the best on the platform.
What if somebody wants to do their own leasing and just use you for another piecemeal part?
Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people do their own leasing and just use our software only package, or they'll do software plus our repair coordination, but bring their own service professionals and they physically are doing the leasing. So really it's a plug and play. Again, we're trying to work with everyone's model. What we realized is, there's no one size fits all. There's some real estate investors, really great ones, who are really good with repairs. They want to do that on their own, but they, need a software to help with the reminders and setting everything up and getting everything into one place and doing their background and credit checks. So really, again, there's no one size fits all, but it's helpful to provide you with a solution. And then we also see a lot of investors, it's based on the right timing for you, right? So you might start on our software package and then realize, hey, I'm going out of town for 3 months and I need someone to help me with my repair coordination while I'm out and off the grid. So again, we can do that as well.
Good stuff, man. What about by the room? Dante, you're by the room, right? Rent by the room?
Yeah, the reason I was asking, because that's kind of my biggest headache, just turnover. It's not too bad, but driving over there, taking the calls during the day, screening people, it's a lot of work. And I've been thinking of ways to offload that to someone else. That'd be nice to worry about acquisitions.
Yeah, and do you pre-qualify them? So before you drive over there to show the property, you pre-qualify to make sure they're qualified?
Yeah, I jump on the phone and I tell them my rules and some things that I don't allow, and then I ask them about their situation. And yeah, I do pre-screening, and that saves a lot of the trips to drive over there. But there's still a good amount of trips that I have to take over there and do a showing and realize they're not good enough, or they don't meet the qualifications.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with rent by the room. Know a lot of people who do it. People do it on Hemlane. One of the things I would say is it is more administrative, right? Because you have turnovers, more communal space drama, a lot of that kind of stuff that just goes into the nature of getting more rent for the property itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, you guys check it out, right? Best thing to do is just go to the Hemlane website, right, Dana?
Yeah, you can go to hemlane.com. You can kind of see it in my background. You can also email me directly. My email is Dana, DANA @hemlane.com. I can also put that in the chat if you guys have questions or anything just related to property management. If you just say like, hey, I've got some questions on property management, qualifications, things like that. We usually have some resources to provide to you and education and all of that fun stuff.
Awesome stuff. Well, good stuff. What else has everybody got going on? What's going on? What's going on with you, Dion?
Nope. I'm just taking notes. I do self-manage, and I like the idea of Hemlane as maybe the software package aspect. I was using Cozy, but they've merged with Apartments, and I have no idea how that's going to go going forward. So I'm definitely going to check it out.
Awesome.
Keith, what's going on in your world today? You're looking all serious over there. What's the update?
Just pre-approving people left and right, making
Yeah.
it happen. Yep.
What are
So-
you finding? What's going on with your buyers? Are they having? Is it taking them like a month to get something, or are you guys keeping track of that at all? Are you noticing anything over there?
Well, I think the most important thing right now for anybody buying is that they have realistic expectations of what it takes to win, and if they don't, I fire them.
The buyer.
Yeah, the buyer. I don't got time for it. So it's like, look, here's the situation. We pulled data. Stuff in this area is listing for X dollars, and we can tell by the close price that everybody's escalating in this area somewhere between 7 and 15%. Are you willing to do that? No. Okay. Then you need to shop at 600,000 as opposed to 800,000. Otherwise, you're not going to get into a house. So I'm just breaking hearts up front as opposed to waiting until I get 6 offers decline to break their heart. So it's kind of, it's really this weird dichotomy right now. I don't know if it's just because we've been in it since 2018, and it's like, buyers, if you don't have the right mindset, I don't want to work with you.
I'm being a little more matter of fact with buyers right now, just because it saves them emotions and time and energy too. What else is going on? I want to say hi to, I don't know if I'm going to say your name correctly. Trua? How do I say your name correctly? Nexa Mortgage.
Yeah, true.
True.
Yes.
What's going on? Welcome. Join us. How you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good. So Keith here, Keith's from Loan Depot, and now we got Alex from Certain Lending, and now we got you from Nexa. Where's your home base?
Yeah, in Seattle.
Nice.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Same problem. I pre-approve a lot of buyer, but it's hard to get into any deal right now.
That's right. I know.
Same thing. I have to set expectation right at the front.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Cash is king. Or, well, what's interesting, I'll give you an interesting one, is that like I said, I have a seller that I'm working with out of Sammamish moving to Austin, and they're down in Austin right now, and they are potentially looking and considering to buy a house in Austin using a group called Homeward. Have you guys heard of Homeward? Anybody heard of Homeward? I think they're based out of Austin, but they're a startup, kind of like Knock or these other ones. Well, they'll buy your house first and let you rent it for 6 months and this and that. Of course, it comes with a bunch of fees, but my nervousness when buyers are talking about doing that kind of stuff is that they get so emotionally excited and they overcommit themselves, right? So I'm here back in Seattle, trying to tell them, to be cautious and slow down. And of course, there's an agent on the other end saying, "Hey, let's use Hemlane to buy a house while you're here." And I'm like, "Yeah, Homeward. Sorry, not Hemlane. Hemlane. Hey, maybe Hemlane will get into that business. Sorry, got my H's mixed up there. Homeward. Yeah. So I don't know. There's
Well, let's talk about the Homeward business model of buy cash, the fly home business model of buy cash and refinance out of it. I mean, that's all well and good. And right now it works because we're in a uber appreciating market. The second the market cools off to less than like 3 to 5% appreciation, people will quickly find themselves upside down and not able to consummate the refinance.
Right. They could get caught in a little pocket like that. Well, these people I think there's also people using it where, for example, my sellers are going to pay off Homeward with, I almost said Hemlane again, are going to pay off Homeward with cash from the sale of their house, right? They're not going to do any type of refi stuff, but that's that situation. There's so many.
What is their fee structure on the back side? Does anybody know? I'm curious.
They said it's 1.9%. That's what
if they buy a house for $500,000, they're going to tack on when they refinance, and the next transfer is going to be $55,550.
They're going to have to pay whenever they consummate the deal. They're going to pay essentially 2%.
2%. $10,000.
Hey, Keith, this
Yeah.
is Jenny Moore. Have you done any transactions with Fly Homes or Homeward? Has it gone well?
So I've done I've done some deals, some straight deals with Fly Home buyers. That Fly Home was like their guy sitting on the bench just in case I couldn't perform. That Fly would just buy that house for them cash, but they wanted a fully underwritten conditional approval letter from me before they would allow that person to go make offers. So not I haven't taken out a Fly Home purchase, but I've worked with buyers that use Fly Homes.
So you have to fully underwrite all the way almost to finishing, and then
So, yeah, I've got to underwrite income, assets, and credit, and then they're just dealing with collateral.
okay.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Mario,
Rates are getting better, so that's good.
rates are dropping.
Again, yep.
Mario, what are
Nice
you
to
up
meet
to?
you.
How are you?
Good. This is a first time for me to join, and I'm new to like investment or real estate properties, and I'm interested in house hacking. Like I'm living in one unit of the duplex, for example, and then I'm renting another unit to other tenants. But I don't know people who's doing that, around my like friends or family. So I just wanted to make like a connections or the type of things, which whoever are doing it. So
Yeah, you're in the right place.
this is my situation.
Has anybody here done a house hack?
I've done a couple of house hacks. I'm house hacking right now.
Holly's
Where?
Uh,
Hi, Holly.
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. If you have questions, you can. I can give my contact info
Yeah, that would be
over to
great.
you, and we can connect.
Yeah, we're house hacking as well.
What did you do on your house hack? What was your scenario? How did it go down for you? Did you say, Andy, can you hear me? Did you house hack?
Yeah, we had a duplex in Queen Anne that had a lower unit in it, and we lived there for a while and sold that. And currently in West Seattle, we have a house that has a unit above the garage.
Right.
We are looking for the property in West Seattle or Queen Anne, or Capitol Hill is too expensive to me. But yeah, that would be great if we can connect and yeah.
Yeah, I think buying a small house with a garage you can finish is always a good idea as well.
Good.
Who had that question today? Isn't somebody on here said something about building a garage? Who was that earlier today? Can't remember.
Me.
Who's me? Oh, Thomas. Yeah, that was Thomas. Yeah. What was your question, Thomas? Maybe somebody's on here now that can answer it.
Well, so I have a duplex in Linwood, but it's under Snohomish County. So my neighbor talked to the county last year, and they told him that we are zoned for triplex, so we could have put another unit in. So my plan was to build a 2-car garage detached with a living unit upstairs, and then rent one upstairs out, but then I keep the garage as my storage.
Right. The problem with, I guess if you're zoned that way, but there is no, I think Snohomish County still for like DADU stuff. I guess if your zoning allows that, that's one thing, but the whole DADU thing in Snohomish County, I think still requires a owner occupancy, but that's not what you're doing because you're just zoned straight up to build some additional on there already, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else? Anybody else have anything going on? What's up with you, Aaron?
Just talking about the house hacking thing. So, we've been doing that for years too. Just finished our basement, been renting that out. Got a huge shop that I don't use half of it. So we rent out bays in that. And now we're getting a tiny house that we're putting on the property, and we're going to do a B&B in that. So this property has been our best rental income stream by far, just our personal property. So there's so many different opportunities, just if you look for them. I mean, we've even rented a patch of dirt next to the shop
for trailer storage before. So love to get that going again, because I mean that's the most passive income you can have. There's no electricity or anything, just a patch of dirt. So lots of ways to make money off your home. But yeah, you do need to look at the occupancy requirements for the area, just to know if you have to live in it or not.
Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, I was just gonna say first, Mario, I might have a listing for you in June coming on, so we can stay in touch. I'll let you know when that goes live.
Sure. Thank you.
It already has kind of an unpermitted dadu in it. Lots of room. It's going to be like an urban homestead. So I don't know if you're up for that, but it's kind of cool.
What does that mean?
It's got a greenhouse, chicken coop, a stream going through it, veggie gardens, banana trees that don't produce, but they could. This could be the year that they get bananas on them. Fruit trees and all kinds of stuff.
All about the chickens.
That's right.
So Alex, do you guys see any house hacking stuff? Do you guys participate in the process somewhere on your end before you kick them over to somebody like Keith? Or
I mean, we're business purpose only. So like if a client's going to own or occupy it, we can't touch it. If they agree to sign like, a business purpose affidavit or something like basically saying, yeah, we will not occupy the property while your loan's in place, we can do the loan. But otherwise we kind of take our hands off. On a personal note though, I'm looking at my garage right now and on my house, and I'm like, okay, I could convert this over to like another living unit, but I really, really like having a covered garage that I can actually shut the door on. So I'm really torn. Like, do I really want to like try and get extra income, or, do I want to keep that garage that I really like? I'm a little torn, to be honest.
I hear that. I have like a house on top of a house at my house, but we use the whole thing. So we're sticking at it here. What else is going on, everybody? Anybody else have questions this week?
Thank you so much, everyone, about hacking.
Yeah. Anybody have property management questions? We can hit up Dana while she's here. Any additional, are you seeing any rent increases going out, Dana, on renewals?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for those who were not affected by COVID, but it's so heavily dependent on what area you're in. Like in Florida, where a lot of people are moving and there's a lot of increases with tenants who weren't affected by COVID, people are doing increases because they're seeing the market go crazy. Same with Texas. In a place like San Francisco, a lot of people are looking at the market rates and saying, ooh, maybe I should even give a rent reduction, right? To entice them to sign an annual lease. So it's really specific on the city, as well as your tenant situation, and what the tenants are dealing with. We've actually seen fewer than we expected tenants affected by COVID, which is a really good thing, obviously, for the tenants and for the landlords as well. But of course, those that have been affected by COVID have had a lot of accommodations and stuff like that to make sure they can still stay in their home.
You know what would be a good, interesting person to get on, or maybe even, I don't know, Keith, you probably haven't run into this at all, or any of you mortgage people on there, but when people go and they have to renew or they have to refinance their multifamily, right? Has there been any effect on ability to refinance on the multifamily side due to, lower rents? For example, right? And not being able to,
Yeah, absolutely. It's both in the residential, so the 4-unit and less, and the 4-unit and over, or over 4-unit, I should say. Yeah, because I mean, lending in both those capacities require that you provide the rent roll and see the performance of the property, right? So in both of those, if you've got folks that were not paying due to COVID, you now have a scratch and dent balance sheet, so to speak. So it does impact their lendability.
Dion, are you all your loans long-term, or do you have any maturities that are on any of your properties?
The main thing that keeps me in 4 units or less is always the loan reevaluation period. 30-year fixed rate, set it, forget it, never think about it again. The people who do commercial, I mean, unless you stagger your leases to make sure you don't have any vacancies between there, 5 units or more, yeah, that's a risk I just couldn't take because I have no idea what's going to happen in 7 years when people go to renew. I mean, like Keith was saying, people trying to renew right now, if your NOI is down, you might not be able to refinance at all.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And the commercial world, they have the performance calls. Depending on the note, you can be called in 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years.
What do you mean, a performance call, like in the middle of your term?
Yeah, they'll pull your rent roll and say, hey, how is this property performing? And if it's not, they'll call the note due within 180 days.
Even if you've been paying with no trouble?
Yeah.
I've been in property, spent
all
6
day long
in my life and never had one of those checks or calls.
Oh, that's a shitty call. Let me tell you, you do not want that call from your client when you're in the finance side.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, that'd be a really good, interesting list to pull for you multifamily buyers. Especially on like a 6 unit or something or a 10 unit, right? Is pulling a list of who's got a loan maturity. Is there a way to pull the list of, that sort of thing, right? You can do some research and you can find out if anybody's got a loan maturity. That'd be a great call to make, that year before their loan is maturing, right? You guys get what I'm saying?
Hey, Julie, can you, Keith, can you explain what you just said again? Because I caught the tail end of it.
So in commercial notes, some commercial notes will have a performance call, right? So every 3 years or 5 years, the bank, you can still be within the term of your loan, but the bank will go back and reevaluate your debt service coverage ratio, the asset position of the company, and see if it's still performing to their credit standards. And if it's not, they can call the note due.
Okay, so they do that right before the loan's getting ready to mature. You said something about 180 days, or did I miss something?
No, they can. So it's going to be dictated inside your commercial mortgage note when you have performance calls. And they'll say, hey, every 3 years, we're going to do a performance review of your company. And if your company's not performing, if the rent roll of the multifamily isn't performing to where it should be in our current situation, then we can call the note due within 180 days. So they give you 6 months to sell the property.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just saying thank you. That's all.
Yeah.
Hey, Dana, have you had any of your larger, do you have institutional clients that you guys are handling the leasing on part of their building, or do you have any clients that have been affected by, like we said, COVID rents got collected a lot better than everybody was anticipating, I guess. Have you had anybody on your platform, Dana, that has had any issues with any financing and had to make some hard choices or anything? Or
Definitely have. It happens once you have enough users where suddenly something's going to happen to someone. It's mostly been some sales, right? We've seen some fire sales on that side. Very few, but we've definitely seen it where they have to give up part of the portfolio due to the climate. But it has been more rare than I expected. I'd say can think about 2 cases over the year. So not that many, but we've definitely seen it.
So Keith and all our mortgage people, how would we go about, what do you think would be, researching lists to make cold calls on, because a lot of people here aren't afraid to make cold calls to pick up their apartment projects or their multifamily or even their single family from the, I guess I'll start on the single family side, right? With the whole forbearance thing and people not having a consecutive stream of payments, let's say, right? Is there, what's going to happen is your expectation on, it feels like people are going to get their loan modifications unless there'd be very, almost to me seems difficult not to get your loan modification unless your income changed, right? And you'd have now lower income, or one spouse lost their job and not reemployed or whatever. What do you think about loan modifications on the forbearance Obviously, the government's going to be like trying to keep everybody in place. But what do you think about is going to happen with people that need to get a modification and what their status is with their job, employment, and income? How's that going to affect it?
My belief on the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA front, the workouts are going to be plentiful, and I really think it's going to be a non-starter. I think if I'm sitting in a real estate agent's shoes, or I'm a wholesaler, or I'm an investor, I would be calling all of the small regional and small credit unions and say, what are you guys going to do with your non-government backed, non-FHA, non-Fannie, Freddie, and VA loans? How are you working those out? And just be there for them, because I don't think you're going to see a huge wave of foreclosures or any big issues coming right out of the gate once the CARES Act sunsets.
Right.
So,
I think it'd be more on like the commercial and multifamily side because of the length of their loans, right? When they have to get a new appraisal, and and it's their their refinancing and their value goes down, right? It's probably more on that side where we're going to see issues.
yeah, I mean, because your cap rate's going to be driven by your NOI, and if your NOI took a dump, now your appraisal value is going to come down and you're toast.
Right.
So to that point, I think you could see some hiccups in the multifamily space, more like the C properties, not the B plus and higher properties. I think who's really going to take it in the shorts is the office space, quite frankly. I think you're going to see a huge deviation there. And quite frankly, I am waiting for the office to condo conversion. I'm waiting. Somebody's going to do it. I'm going to be super excited when it happens.
Office to condo conversion.
Office to condo conversion. Let's just massively inhabit the downtown cores.
Want to know what all the developers, because I've been plugged into some, we're looking at recently, were failed hotel because of COVID to multifamily transitions. That's been a hot, topic. Have you could probably even do that with some of those smaller little hotels, even though now the governments are renting those up, right? To keep not only homeless, but, all the COVID stuff would probably pass that. But, you think of the government starting to lease hotel space for immigration reasons and all that kind of stuff, and homeless reasons and all that jazz. I'd say if I was going to go focus on something right now, to me, I think I'd go into the housing affordability focus. If I was going to go into do some nonprofit or NGO, I'd go hang out with Todd McKellips and get involved in that world and see where it goes, right? As a solution to affordable housing, because it's a problem, right? It is a problem, I don't know.
Can I chime in on that one too? I think we need more single level condos and kind of not so many townhomes, because there's so many people that townhomes just aren't practical for. The single level, I think, is something we need more of around here.
But the tri-level townhouse that you can touch each wall on, that you have to go 3 levels up to get the master suite, that's not good for aging communities.
You might have the roof deck, but if you break your ankle or something, you got your master bedroom on the 3rd floor. It's kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Right on. What else, guys? 12:15. Anybody have anything they want to talk
Hey,
about?
Julie. Yeah, I got a question for if anybody has any experience with wetland delineations. Because we got a letter, we have a property in Ocean Shores that we were just getting ready to clear, and we got a notice from the planning administrator saying we've got a mapped wetland and we need to have a wetland delineation done.
I know.
Anybody go through that?
Who likes to be a very helpful person that you could just tag, you could message DM on social media about that and tell him I told you to ask him. And he's not going to be down in Ocean Shores or whatever, but he's a wealth of knowledge about that, is Ryan Gibson.
Ron Gibson.
Yeah. You'll find him on Water or SIC, Ryan Gibson. He's had to deal with a bunch of that sort of stuff. So you'd probably point you in the right direction. Just DM him and say, hey, I'm in Seattle Investors Club. Julie said I should hit you up to ask you a wetlands question.
Yeah, I really just want to know if it's going to be expensive or if they're just going to tell us, too bad you got water on your land and you're sucked.
He had a big old property in Maple Valley for his storage facility, and they dealt with it fine. Like maybe it wasn't as big as a deal as maybe it sounds like. You know?
Yeah, it'll cost you a few $1,000 to get your biologist out there to do a full report. Just keep that in mind, depending on how big the property is. And then sometimes you can like buy trees on some other property or like to mitigate if you've got wetlands. But the setbacks can be pretty large too. So just
the setbacks are the killer.
Yeah, like around here in King County is like 100 feet setbacks from any identified wetlands. So just depends on where it's at.
It's called that building envelope shrinkage.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Aaron, what's Jared up to these days? Is he picking up a bunch of properties and still going hardcore on his flips or what?
Yeah, he is. He's been doing really well. He's been picking up new properties, churning them out and getting them on the market. So yeah, he's going full steam ahead.
Where's he getting, he's always had a good way of generating leads from circle prospecting off of his current projects. Is that how he's getting deals, or he's just Mr. Popular now, so people are sending him deals?
Well, he's on a lot of like private wholesaler lists, so he gets the call before a lot of people do, and sees a lot of properties that way. But also, yeah, like we've done some of that where we've walked neighborhoods that he just finished a flip in and listed, and knocked on doors looking for leads, and he's building his team, so doing stuff like that. But yeah, he's got tentacles out there. He does a lot, he's doing it all. He's got his own mail campaigns going out. He's got wholesalers calling.
He's not doing any buy and holds, is he?
He's holding a few, and he's got a cool commercial project he's working on right now, and so he's got a couple. Yeah, he's holding a couple of things for sure.
Did Jared come up to Skagit County at all? Because I just got under contract today a house that I'm hoping to either flip it before I close it, or do the wholesale thing, or sell it immediately.
You call Ruby.
Yeah, you could.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm gonna call Ruby too, but
yeah, you can certainly send it over. He'll take a look at it and evaluate it, see if it's worth it.
Drop the email for me, would you, Darren?
Yeah.
What kind of project is it, Darren? Is it just a?
It's a single family house. It's been gutted, and somebody had bought it a couple of years ago to fix and flip, and they ran out of money, so I bought it from them.
Okay, I have another person up there that might be interested, Julia Phillip. You can tag me and I'll get you her contact information.
Yeah, I think she poked me yesterday.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. What else? Anybody else? This is what we do, Dana. This is what we do every Thursday. You can jump in anytime you want. And we hang out, we just chat. And
I love it. They get a lot of advice and resources and connections. It's great.
Dana, do you guys work in San Antonio?
Yeah, we are in San Antonio.
All right, I'm going to send you over to my in-laws.
Okay, awesome. Would love to connect with them.
I would love to find a developer that would come to the Tri-Cities and build some multi-generational one-story type homes, or something with multi-generational. We have a lot of need for that over here. A lot of families are starting to move in together, and there's nothing out there that accommodates multiple generations.
And there's nobody out there, a local builder, that's seeing the need for that? Or what's the deal? It's such a boom and bust market over there, aren't there?
I guess affordable is the key. There is some out there that are building multi-generational, but it's like 900,000, and a lot of my people are between 450 and 550. That I've got like 4 families like that, and I can't find them anything. And there's a need for it here, but they're all very expensive, and they're in
Problem is that you got to find the dirt to build something like that allows you to keep the price low, or some sort of government program or something that's going to allow them to get some sort of perk. Because the issue, probably why it's not happening, is because the dirt price is too much, right? To keep the prices that low on the end product.
Yeah,
So
I found some dirt.
you have to go to the lower priced areas. What would that be? Pasco maybe, or further out?
Well, Pasco I've got some land up there that could be developed that would be cheap dirt. And then there's another place here in Kennewick as well.
Yeah.
But I know that trying to keep the price down is but yes, East Pasco is probably the most affordable at this point.
Yeah, go find a builder that's willing to do that, and then just go reverse engineer and hunt for them on that, right? If it's available. I don't know. Don't know the answer on that one.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because we have a lot of families that want to live with mom and dad, but they want their own spaces, and there's just, it's kind of a new thing over here. So.
Yeah, well, what about the whole dadu thing over there?
I've sold 3 of them over here, but there's only a handful of those. There's not very many.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that sounds like it's, another solution to that is you be the person in town that's the niche expert on the whole dadu thing, right?
Yeah.
And dive into that and be the expert in the Tri-Cities on that. That would be a good move on your part.
Hey,
Yeah.
Wendy, can I find you easily online? I've got some ideas for you.
Yeah, I'll drop you my email too. Hold on.
Okay.
I think I can. I'll just drop you. Yeah, but yes, you can.
Awesome, guys. Well, we're getting towards 12:30. Go ahead, Cole.
Okay, yeah, there might not be enough time to answer this, but I'm kind of on the same page as Mario. Like, as a first-time buyer looking to get into the market, I was looking at like house hacking with like a single family unit. I can afford like the very low end of the market and probably wouldn't have any room for like rehabilitations from there. I'm debating on a condo or just continuing to rent until the market cools down. So I was wondering, what's the best way to think about like routes to look at initially getting into the market now, and just any kind of recommendations or resources I'm open to.
What about the home style loan?
Yep, 3% down.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get in with 3% down. I mean, that's home style. So you're renovating that. That's a renovation loan. So it's the acquisition plus your budget at 3% down. So that would be a great way to get in. I'm curious what you believe the cool down looks like. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have no idea. I just know like the market's super high right now, and rents are generally lower, like for apartment buildings. So I'm just wondering, like, do you think it makes sense to rent for a while and see if things change, or, don't stall and just get into the market?
Cole, did you say where you're at? I'm sorry, did I miss that?
I'm in Seattle, so Seattle proper.
So do you want to stay over there? Do you work from home, or are you work?
Yeah, I work from home right now, and I'm starting a new job in May, but we probably won't be in office until next year there in Queen Anne. So I'd like to be somewhat close to that area. But yeah, I'm expecting to be in the Seattle area for the next few years, probably.
Gotcha. There's some great options to get you in with very little money down. My feelings is that the market's not going to slow down for a couple more years. I think if anything, as COVID starts to wane and people get back to work on a more full-time basis. Remember, we've got this real estate market with like tens of or millions of people still sitting on the sidelines with unemployment, real unemployment numbers at like 13-14%, right? So once that heats up and more people are back to work, do you guys really think there's going to be a correction in the real estate market? Yeah. So I don't think there's a slowdown. And if there's a slowdown, it's 2, maybe 3 years out. of another 10% appreciation a year. So you're going to pile on another $150,000 to $200,000 to that starter house at $500,000 that you're looking at right now. So Cole, definitively, I would say now is the right time to get in the market if you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking, I think I was with like 3% down, I was pre-approved for like 460K or something like that. And I could afford like the very bottom end of the market in terms of like single family homes. But I'm like maxed out on debt at that point and wouldn't have like much more to put into it.
Right. So, I mean, your alternative to going into the bottom end of the market is burning rent money for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So my next question is then, what is your capacity to save money over the next 2 years? And will you have a large enough nut to actually make a difference? Or are you waiting for something that's not going to come to fruition?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. So if you got it now, get in, because now all tides lift all boats, right? And that $400,000 asset that you got into, 10%, you're 440, 10% more, you're 480, 46. So you've got to get in the market, right? We all wish we could go buy Tesla back at $90 a share, and we can't. So do we say, oh, we can't buy Tesla because it's not going to go up anymore? Right. So if you got it, get in. That's my 2 cents. That's my belief.
Yeah.
If I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cole. So this is really what I do is I help people get started in those first things in becoming an investor. And the steps are the same, whether you're in a cold market or a hot market. And Keith is right, is now is always the best time to buy, but now is always the best time to buy a good deal. And the steps are, you learn to save, you work on your credit score, you talk to a lender, you find out what you can qualify for, you talk to an agent to find out how to get those auto searches set up. So every month you should be saving more, because the more you save for down payment, reserves, closing costs, the more options you'll have. But learn how to run the numbers so that you can recognize a good deal, because if you're right, and in 3 or 4 months we have a correction, you're ready for it. But if you're not running the numbers every day and you think I'll wait 2 years, you'll miss the good deal. And learning what is an average deal in your area will help you recognize an above average deal. And so that's what I would focus on, is figuring out what return you're looking for, based on after you're done house hacking and you have it rented out, and look for those. And if you find them, like he said, jump into it now. If you can't find them, your hands are kind of tied, like most of us dealing with this lack of inventory, where we might be forced to wait that time. But still, even if it was 2 months or 2 years, every single day looking at deals is the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Chat, Keith. Check the chat, guys. Hey, Federico, am I pronouncing it? First of all, I want to say that your Zoom quality is badass and your background is awesome. I don't know what you're using there. You guys noticing his cool vibe Zoom thing going on there? What are you using there? And what are you doing to make stuff?
Actually, you can do the background, choose background by the camera, arrow up, and you can do choose the background from either virtual, or you can choose any background actually.
I don't know why it looks so high quality. It looks cool. But so you're an out-of-state investor.
Yes, I am.
Have you been on here the entire time, or did you pop on a little bit later?
Oh, I've been, I came in later, actually. And actually, I just started my multifamily investing January. And I've been out of state doing duplex, mostly in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But I live here around Renton area. And so I did invest myself into education for multifamily, and been trying to connect with people actually as far as out of state investors, since the Seattle area is pretty low cap, and it's kind of hard to go in. And
your property out there. Did you get in here early enough to meet Dana up here at Hemlane?
Actually, I overheard Dana's doing San Antonio, which is one of the market I'm interested in. Yep.
Well, Hemlane is, I think, national. So you're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Are you guys out that way, Dana?
Yeah, we are in Grand Rapids. Pretty much any city over 100,000, we'll have a leasing agent through our partnerships. And then any city under 100,000 in population, we probably don't have presence there, or if we do, it's because one of our existing owners purchased a property somewhere and happened to go there.
All right, I'll try to connect with you. How do I say it? I'm with the Jake and Gino education platform.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you're probably familiar with them. So
yeah, I've been on their podcast before. They're awesome. They're great guys. So very cool.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Stuff, guys. All right, it's 12:31. We're gonna start wrapping it down here. With any chat questions? Anybody have anything they threw in the chat?
I have a quick question about raising the rent.
Okay.
Is it still being restricted by the law in Washington that I cannot raise until June, the end of June?
Anybody want to answer that? I believe that, yes, I believe it's till the end of June that the current rules are in place. That's my information. I wouldn't say that I have every ounce of information, but I think people are raising the rent now. I think we've had that discussion where, people are going ahead, and if you have two parties agreeing to raise the rent, that they are. Otherwise, maybe, build a renting. If you're doing a new lease right now, build a rent increase in it, July 1st, or something like that. I don't know if everybody's still on here. Is anybody out here currently raising rents? Right? Dana, you have anything to say about that?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, as far as if a tenant hasn't been affected by COVID and doesn't, there's like 4 or 5 different criteria. We've definitely seen it in some areas. It's not egregious, but we've also seen areas where people are cutting rent. So really, it depends on market rates. It depends on rent control, and it depends on your tenants. It's case by case basis. So we've definitely seen that as well.
Yeah.
If your tenants have been affected by COVID, though, of course, no one would increase rent if they're trying to get off, or at least I've never heard of anyone doing that. And then, of course, there's eviction moratoriums for those who qualify.
Yeah, I don't even know who asked the question. But all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up today. Again, this is recorded. You can always go back and listen to this again. We're Joe and I are trying to put tags every week on these recordings. So if you go back and into your Seattle Investors Club membership page, and you can review the tags or topics that you're interested in, so you don't have to listen to the whole thing on any type of all these meetups that we do weekly, and you can kind of zero in on ones where you're interested in the topics. That's what we're attempting to do, to help you guys out. But we appreciate you all showing up. We're here every single Thursday. And if you have not checked out our podcast yet, and you're newer to Seattle Investors Club or our meetup here, make sure you jump on our YouTube page for Seattle Investors Club, where we have hundreds of podcast topics. A lot of people joining us today have even been on the podcast, like Justin, and Dana's is dropping soon, and Aaron and Keith. And I'm looking around here. I can't see anybody else, but definitely massive information there, and hit the subscribe button if you get the chance, so you don't miss all the good content. We have some badass stuff coming out. I will let you know that on April 29th, as a little teaser, we do have a guest jumping on with us here. We just recorded a podcast with Tom Lonnie, who is an expert at infinite banking. And I don't know if you guys are interested in the concept of infinite banking, which has an insurance component to it. Really, it's done through insurance. It is fascinating. Everybody needs to know about it, because you don't know what you don't know. And we just recorded a podcast with Tom, but he's going to jump on with us on April 29th in a few weeks. And we can do a deep dive and ask him some questions, just like we did with Dana here today on Hemlane and her awesome platform for all of you people who have rentals. Again, check out Hemlane. Dana's podcast coming out soon. She's also going to be on, do you have a date that you and Jennifer's stuff is going to be?
Yeah, Her summit is next week, so I'll be speaking at her summit next Thursday. I believe it's at noon. So it's Addicted to ROI, that summit, and I think you can get a free ticket online if you go to her website too, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'll hit her up, or Joe hit her up, and we can let her know she can market her summit on SIC. But there you go, guys. Thanks for showing up today, everybody. We appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you next week or whenever you can make it back again on a Thursday at 11:30. We're here every week. All right, everybody. Ciao, ciao.